Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manful Yoga. In this video, I'm going to be talking about whether or not your knees should pass your toes. So if you've been to a yoga class before, or if you've gone to the gym, someone's been teaching you how to do a squat properly, you probably heard the cue, keep your knees, or make sure you keep your knees behind your toes. Now, there is an intention behind this. There is a reason behind this. Whether or not the person who is telling you that knows what that reason is another question. But there is a reason why people tell you to keep your knees behind your toes. But this reason has gotten a little bit blown out of proportion, and it has been mistaken now to mean that you should always keep your knees behind your toes no matter what, or your knees are going to blow up and you'll never be able to exercise again. So I'm going to go through a few things in this video. I'm going to talk about why that cue exists. I'm going to talk about some of my own personal experiences that you can probably relate to, first with yoga and then also with having knee pain, having a knee injury in the past that has caused me to be careful with my knees. I'm going to talk about once you know whether or not your knee should pass your toes, I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why you should do that or not do it, and why it's going to help you get stronger, or on the other hand, why it's going to minimize your gains if you don't. And I'm going to give you some solutions and action plan that you can actually use to work on improving your squats. So watch the whole thing. This is going to be really helpful. And if you do enjoy it, be sure to like it, leave a comment for feedback, and subscribe to Manful Yoga if you haven't already. Here we go. All right, so first off, you've probably heard this cue, keeping your knees behind your toes. Now, the original intention behind this is to make sure that your heels stay down. It actually has not that much to do with the knees and the positioning of the knees. More so, actually, it has to do with keeping the heels down. If your heels cannot stay in contact with the ground while you're doing a squat, then you're not going to have great muscle activation in what's called the posterior chain complex. That's basically the muscles in the back of your body, your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, your low back. If you don't have the heels pressing down firmly into the ground, you can't use these muscles, and that's going to put more strain on the muscles in the front of your body, primarily on your quadriceps, and that's why it might hurt your knees if you can't keep if you allow the knees to go past the toes in a squat. However, it's only going to hurt your knees if you don't have the core strength, the hip strength, or that ankle mobility. Most importantly, the ankle mobility. So if you can go down into a squat and your heels stay down and your knees go past the toes, but the heels stay down and your low back stays flat, and you can keep your core engaged, your glutes engaged, everything's turned on in the back of your body, quadriceps are working too, then you're good. So in this case, we do want the knees to go past the toes in a squat. Again, the problem arises when we can't keep your heels down and you immediately shift everything forward and the knees go way far forward to start, the heels come off the ground, and now I'm doing something more like a sissy squat, which is, there is a different intention behind the sissy squat versus a traditional deep squat. But if you're using the sissy squat as your main squat, you're not going to have anywhere near as much power. You're minimizing your ankle mobility involved here, and your squat is just not going to be as good. The deep squat is an essential movement of exercise. It's so good for everything in your body. It's got core strength, it's got hip strength, hip mobility, knee strength, ankle mobility, ankle strength. So you do want to have a good deep squat. So if you've been to a yoga class, you're probably familiar, again, with that keeping the knees behind the toes cue. Now, that applies to some positions, but not to all exercises. There are certain postures, like a warrior two. You do want to keep your knees behind your toes, because if your knees go way past the toes, then you're not going to be getting the target area. The target area here is opening up your groin. If you allow the knees to go past the toes in that, you're not going to feel it as much. You're also not going to feel that weight in your hips. So in this specific example, in this posture, we do want to keep the knee behind the toes. But in some other postures, let's take, for example, a side angle, right? Your knee can go past the toes, and that's okay. You don't have to keep the knees behind the toes. It could also change according to the focus. If you want to focus more on improving your ankle mobility, then you're going to have to allow your knees to go past the toes. So if you're trying to get better at the deep squat and you need to work on your ankle mobility in order to do that, you're going to have to allow the knees to go past the toes. You just need to make sure that you keep the heel down. If you're looking for specific exercises for that, I do have a free video here on YouTube. It's a very short routine. It works on hip and ankle mobilization for deep squats. So you can use this before you do a squat. Click that exclamation point in the right-hand corner here, or go to the link in the description and you can find that. I also have a longer workout for it on my members area /app, manfulyoga.tv. So the answer here is yes, your knees should go past your toes, but only if you can keep your heels down. And if you can't keep your heels down, you should work on your ankle mobility so that you can go deeper into the deep squat while keeping the heels down and being able to activate that posterior chain, those muscles in the back of your body, to make sure that you're evenly distributing the weight and using your body to the way that it's intended to be used for squats. So that has been the video. I hope this is really helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment if you have any feedback or questions. Check out that video that I told you. It's really helpful. Again, exclamation point in the upper right-hand corner. And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. We put out great content every week, and then turn on notifications so you'll get notified when that new video is released. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you on another workout soon.